There are two types of people. There are people that have a bias toward thinking, which is the habit of hesitating and thinking about what you need to do instead of doing what you need to do. And then there are people that have a bias toward action, which is having the habit of being able to push yourself to take action regardless of how you feel.
Welcome to Philosopher Insights, the podcast that delivers wisdom in minutes a day that you can put into practice daily and strive to master over a lifetime.
The podcast committed to sharing ideas that encourage you to bridge the gap between who you are today and the person you aspire to be in the future.
Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and welcome to my podcast, where I will share practical insights from the world's best authors.
Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The quest to become the best version of you starts right now.
There is this inherent problem in society. I know you suffer from it. I know I suffer from it. But it's that ability to do what you know you're supposed to do, what you know you're committed to doing. But when it comes time to do it, you cannot get yourself to do it. Whether that be exercise, work on your business, talk to your family, make that phone call. There's always something that you know you're supposed to do. And for whatever reason, you cannot get yourself to do it. I heard a great quote recently that there's no one that suffers more pain than a lazy person. It's definitely painful when you think about taking on your dream or doing something extremely difficult. But just imagine the pain, the anguish, the suffering that's going on every single day, every single moment that we don't take the action that we're thinking about taking. Weeks will go by, months will go by, years will go by. And you've thought about doing something, and you look up and you realize, wow, I still haven't taken that action. Through that whole period, it's running through your mind and creating all kinds of pain. You know that feeling. You constantly think about it. You never do it. You lose trust in yourself. You lose that self-integrity, and you suffer with that for as long as it takes you to get started on this thing that's never going to leave you alone. Maybe it's your calling. Maybe it's that thing that you were meant to do, but you're constantly avoiding it because you're not able to get yourself to take action. If that's you, then I believe what Mel Robbins shares today is going to help you in overcoming that obstacle. Today she's going to tell you why motivation is garbage and this strategy that she discovered completely by accident. She ends up with a TED Talk that goes viral, just explaining to people this super simple strategy that now she's discovered is backed by neuroscience, and it really makes sense as to why it works. So I guess the question is, if you already know about the 5-second rule, are you using it? If you have not heard of the 5-second rule or are not familiar with Mel Robbins, I wanted to share a couple things. One, you're going to enjoy this talk and you're going to appreciate the simplicity of this strategy. Second, Mel Robbins just started a new podcast, the Mel Robbins Podcast. It's literally brand new. I would urge you to take a look at that. And also, I would highly recommend, if you have not read the 5-second rule, or for that matter, if you've not read the High Five Habit, I highly recommend both those books. They're easy to read, they're really well written, and Mel Robbins has to be one of the most authentic, honest, trustworthy people you're ever going to encounter. Mel Robbins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My take on motivation is counterintuitive. I not only understand the science, the physiology, the neurological stuff that's going on, more importantly, I understand the mistake that you and I make. So I want to tell you the truth about motivation. The biggest secret to getting the life you want is understanding 3 words I hope you never forget. Motivation is garbage. Yup. Mel Robbins, one of the most successful motivational speakers in the world, just said, motivation is garbage. You see, you're making the same mistake we all make when we think about motivation. You're waiting to feel motivated first before you take action. And you've been told a lie about motivation. See, you've been made to believe that you got to feel motivated. that feeling, that emotion is going to come before the action. It's actually the opposite. You got to take action and the motivation comes. And that's why the first takeaway is motivation is garbage. Because my definition of motivation is that it's just a feeling and it comes and it goes. How to do what you need to do when you don't feel like it. That is a skill. That is what is missing in your life right now. And I know that you felt motivated before. You felt motivated when you're on a team. Lots of people are yelling at you. You felt motivated when you need to pay your bills. But the truth is, when you're alone and you got something that you need to do that's hard or that's, I don't know, going to require some effort or that scares you a little bit or it's going to put you out there, guess what's not going to be there? Motivation. You're going to come up with every excuse in the book why you shouldn't make your calls, why you shouldn't go to the gym, why you don't feel like going out of bed. And that's because if you rely on the feeling of motivation first, you're waiting for something that's never going to come. That's why you've spent years thinking about what you need to do instead of just doing what you need to do. Waiting for motivation is a trap because you're never going to feel like doing the things you need to do to create a better life, period. The $100 million skill that I want to teach you is how you make yourself get out of bed, how you make yourself apply for that job, how you make yourself face the issues you're avoiding. That's how you change your life. Really want you to pay attention because this is the secret to everything. And this simple rule and tool that you're about to learn also embodies decades of neurological and psychological research, which I will also unpack for you. And so the alarm goes off, and all of a sudden I noticed this window of time. It's a moment where you hesitate and you think about what you need to do instead of doing what you need to do. It's unmistakable when you see this moment of hesitation. It's a habit. We all have it. The alarm goes off, and I immediately remember the rocket launch. And I remember that declaration that I had made the night before. I'm going to launch myself out of bed like NASA launches a rocket. And instead of doing it, I started thinking about doing it. And as soon as you start thinking about doing something, you open this window of time. I call it this 5-second moment of hesitation. And that morning in 2008, I started thinking, I don't want to launch myself out of bed. It's cold. It's dark. I don't feel like it. This bed is so warm. How the hell is this going to help anything anyway? I don't want to. And inside all of that thinking is where the anxiety and the excuses and the depression and the overwhelm, where it all starts to spin. And I could feel my hand reaching for the snooze button because it had become a habit to wake up and think about getting out of bed and instead hit the snooze button and delay what I needed to do, numb all the thoughts. And as I'm reaching for the snooze button, I don't know what came over me. But that morning, for whatever reason, I just started counting backwards. The same way that NASA does. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I moved and stood up and I'm like, whoa, that's weird. Now I want to stop here for a second and explain a little bit of the research. Researchers, psychologists, neuroscientists explain this 5-second window this way. There are two types of people. There are people that have a bias toward thinking, which is the habit of hesitating and thinking about what you need to do instead of doing what you need to do. And then there are people that have a bias toward action, which is having the habit of being able to push yourself to take action regardless of how you feel. This 5-second countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, helps you move from being a person that has a bias toward thinking and become a person that has a bias toward action. And this countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, is the secret to hacking motivation. It's the secret to pushing yourself to take action regardless of how you feel. It is the secret to everything. If you want to change anything, you got to be in it and you got to repeat it. And that's one of the other things that I love about this countdown technique that I started calling the 5-second rule. You have 5 seconds to move. You have 5 seconds to push yourself to take action. And if you don't move in that 5-second window, your brain will contaminate your motivation to act. Using this countdown technique, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in moments where you feel yourself hesitate, or you feel the fear coming on, or you feel yourself talking yourself out of it, or you feel the self-doubt or the fear kicking in, when you start counting backwards, the decision to count backwards means you're making a decision to move. You're making a decision to move before you feel like it. You're making a decision to summon your courage, your confidence, your desire for something more than the place you're in right now. The counting backwards also works because counting requires focus. Now, the 5-second rule cuts through that bias we have toward thinking about what we need to do, and it pushes you to do what you need to do, which is why people around the world use it now to be more productive, to sell more, to grow businesses, to lose weight. Like, the ways that you can use this are just absolutely endless. I've talked to the world's leading neurologists and psychologists and experts in habits, and what I've come to understand is this. The 5-second rule and the act of counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, is called metacognition. That is a simple word that means brain hack or cheat code. That means we can use a metacognition technique like the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as a way to switch gears intentionally and cut off the part of the brain where you are sabotaging yourself and tap into the part of the brain where you can take control. In habit research, the 5-second rule is classified as what they call a starting ritual. A starting ritual is a positive trigger that triggers positive habits, positive new behavior. A starting ritual is something that interrupts an old pattern. And when you start counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're interrupting the old pattern. The secret is motivation is garbage. No one's coming to push your ass off that couch. This is up to you. The second you're sitting there marinating in your excuses and your sad sack, whatever, feeling low energy, I get it. I'm there every day at 3 o'clock, right there with you, not feeling like it. The second you start counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've made the decision to get off that couch and go exercise, even though you don't feel like it. The second you hit 1, get up off the couch. Start walking toward your closet. Change into your running shoes. Change into your tights, whatever. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, walk out the door. That is how you summon the activation energy to start. And starting's the hardest part.
You've been listening to Philosopher Insights with your host, Herb Lamba. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To go deeper with me, you can register for free at www.philosopherinsights.com for instant access to a growing library of Philosopher Insights, which are 8 to 10 page PDFs, plus 20-minute MP3s that break down my favorite insights from the world's best personal development books. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Facebook at Optimal Herb. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.